The story begins in Taiwan, where scientists and news reporters are discussing a new virus. A virologist states that this virus is very dangerous. They've never seen these kinds of symptoms in humans before. Despite this, the government did not take steps to stop it. Some people even believed such a virus didn't exist, thinking it was a government trick, wondering why the news would appear only during election season. But the virologist warned that if the city wasn't quarantined, the mutations from the virus could cause a deadly disease in people. After this, we see Kat and her boyfriend, Jim. They had been living together for many years but hadn't planned to marry yet. Kat worked in an office to support their home, while Jim was unemployed and looking for work. When Jim got up and went outside, he saw a woman covered in blood standing on the roof watching him. He asked Kat if she saw her, but Kat said no one was there. Their neighbor, Mr. Lin, then spoke up. "Have you heard about that new virus?" "This government, they tell so many lies to make us crazy." Later, Jim drove Kat to the train station. On the way, they saw police arresting a man who had just killed someone. When they arrived at the station, Jim apologized to Kat, saying he shouldn't have slowed the scooter down there. He thought seeing a dead body so early must have ruined her day. Kat told him it was fine and suggested they have dinner that evening, asking him to pick her up early. When Jim drove back the same way, he noticed the police and the body were gone. Jim went to a restaurant and ordered food. The chef mentioned that the rumor about the virus had caused the real estate market to crash, with property prices much lower than in previous years. Jim was deep in thought when the same woman he'd seen on the roof earlier came into the restaurant. A man asked her if she was okay and if she needed help. She responded by spitting in his face and then pouring hot oil on the chef's face. Before Jim could understand what was happening, he saw the man she had spat on brutally kill his friend. The woman then tried to attack Jim, but a car suddenly hit her. The person in the car was also infected. Jim watched a woman jump from a roof, ending her life. After that, he saw so many people die in front of him that he lost count. Infected people chased Jim, but he got into his apartment just in time and locked the door. He immediately called Kat, but her phone wasn't working. He wanted to know what was happening, but when he turned on the news, all channels were off, replaced by an emergency warning. He heard a voice from outside telling everyone to report to the district office. Suddenly, the voice changed to a demonic laugh, saying, "Come here quickly. If any man doesn't come, I'll cut off his private parts and feed them to dogs. And to the women, if you don't come here, we'll have the street dogs rape you. This is your life now. Get used to it." Jim was texting Kat when he saw someone behind him. Mr. Lin was also infected. He cut off Jim's fingers with garden shears and ate them. He told Jim, "Let Kat come here. I'm going to rape her," and laughed loudly. Hearing this, Jim grabbed a toaster and hit Mr. Lin hard on the head. When Jim went outside, all he heard were people screaming. Girls were being raped. Some were jumping from roofs, and others were killing their own families. He saw some people breaking a man's arm. The man screamed in pain, but their joy grew with each scream. Jim quickly got on his scooter. As soon as he started it, the loud engine noise attracted everyone's attention. The whole neighborhood started chasing him. A police officer even shot at him, but Jim got away. Meanwhile, on the subway, we see Kat reading a book. A man came and sat next to her, asking what she was reading. Kat immediately sensed his bad intentions and tried to ignore him, but he kept talking. He said that hardly anyone reads books on the subway anymore. Everyone is on their phones. After some hesitation, he revealed his true purpose. He said he saw her every day on the train and decided to tell her that day how much he liked her and how beautiful she was. He waited a moment and then touched her without her permission, which Kat disliked very much. She told him to leave her alone, or she would report him for sexual harassment. After this, the man started speaking with venom. He asked what was wrong with people these days, wondering if talking on the train was a crime. He said all women were the same, thinking they could say anything because they were pretty. His insults were unbearable, so Kat got up from her seat at the next station. She thought she was finally free of the creep and would never take this train again, but what was about to happen was even worse. Suddenly, a person pulled out a knife and began stabbing people. Those who tried to stop the attacker were also infected, and very quickly the entire train was covered in blood. The girl next to Kat was very scared when someone used an umbrella to stab her eye out. We see that Liang was also infected. After blinding the girl, he laughed like a madman. Infected people, girls, and all kinds of horrible crimes against women and men happened on that train. Kat was scared, but she helped the girl and got her out of the train. The girl told her to leave her and go, but Kat didn't listen. As they ran, they bumped into a man. He angrily asked if they were blind, but when he saw that the girl was actually blind, he came forward to help her. We see Liang, who wanted to rape and kill Kat. The man stood in front of Liang to stop him, but Liang picked up an axe and cut him down. Kat saw someone closing a door. She told him to stop, but he closed the door faster. They both somehow crawled to the gate and got out just before it closed. Kat asked the guard if he was crazy, saying he could have helped them. But the guard was as scared as they were. When he said he wasn't infected, Kat immediately told him to go to the hospital. Meanwhile, we see Jim trying to reach Kat. He heard on the radio that the virus was making people violent. Most reported cases were sexual violence, and this wasn't just in men. Women, children, and old people, anyone infected, were committing these terrible crimes. Jim tried to cross the street quietly. He saw a person raping a dead body. Tears were in the person's eyes, as if they knew what they were doing, but because of the virus, they couldn't control themselves. Jim avoided this scene and reached a bridge. He saw that the bridge was blocked because of accidents. He had to take a longer route, but because of his cut fingers, he couldn't drive the scooter for long. Jim pulled the scooter to the side and taped his hand. He needed a weapon to protect himself from anyone he might meet. He found a machete nearby and kept going. He saw some infected people torturing a person badly. One of them said, "Why did you hit him on the head?" "Look, he's unconscious now. We won't have fun anymore." After that, they tied a sharp wire to a pole and started dragging the person's body against it. The skin peeled off like a vegetable, and the person screamed in pain. When Jim couldn't watch anymore, he attacked them. Jim saved the person, but then he found out that the person they were torturing was also infected. The person said, "Why did you stop them?" "I was just starting to have fun," and laughed loudly. The infected people came back and attacked Jim. Before they could beat him to death, Jim got on his scooter and managed to escape. On the other side, Kat brought Molly to the hospital. A police officer explained that the virus had spread everywhere. They were all just waiting for help from the government. A nurse started to take Molly to the operating room, but Molly stopped her. She was so shocked when everything happened that she didn't shed a single tear. But this time, she cried a lot. She thanked Kat for saving her life and said she would never forget her. Kat asked the guard for his phone. She needed to call Jim. Just then, an announcement came on the TV. The president of Taiwan promised everyone they would soon find a cure for the virus. After this, the military chief told them that 20 to 30% of their country's population was infected, over 4.5 million people, and this number was still growing. He said the infected people torture, rape, and then kill others. This was just the beginning, and they didn't know what they would do next, but he asked them to trust the president, saying they would fix everything soon. Hearing his words, people felt relieved, and some truly believed the government was looking out for them. They were about to announce a rescue plan when it was revealed that the military chief was also infected. On live TV, he pulled out a grenade, put it in the president's mouth, and blew his head off. When people saw this, panic spread everywhere. This broadcast made the situation even worse because those they hoped would help were not safe themselves. An officer took out a gun to calm the people, but then Kat saw that Liang had arrived. She didn't tell anyone and quietly locked everyone in. The guard begged her to open the gate, but she didn't open it and ran away. Liang came inside and started killing everyone, infected people again, raped and tortured them until they died from the pain. The guard broke down a door and hid under a stretcher. When Liang came in, he found Molly, but this time there was no one to help the poor person. What he did to Molly cannot be described. Just know it was very terrible. The guard listened to her screams from his hiding place, but didn't save her. Kat called Jim and told him she was in the hospital and was very scared. Jim told her to breathe deeply and not to worry, saying he was coming there. He saw a dummy in the gutter, but he started imagining it was someone's head. He wasn't well. He needed to reach Kat as soon as possible, but the whole city had become a living hell. After Liang left, the guard came out and saw infected people covered in blood, acting intimately with each other like animals. Terrified, he somehow got into another ward. But another danger was waiting for him there. We see Molly here, whom Liang had raped and left alive. By mistake, her foot hit a plate, and all the infected people surrounded her. Molly picked up a cutter and cut off his private part. He screamed in pain, but perhaps it was punishment for his own actions. Meanwhile, Liang was looking for Kat. He said, "When I did what I wanted with your friend, she screamed a lot, but later she started to like it." He told Kat, "Don't be scared. I'll hit you until you die." Liang was almost at her, but Kat grabbed a fire extinguisher and beat him to death with it. Other people broke down the door and came in, but then a doctor opened the lab door and told Kat to come inside. Kat's whole body was covered in blood. The doctor thought she might be infected, so he told her to handcuff herself. The doctor believed she might be immune to the virus, which is why he didn't shoot her. Kat asked if he was a virologist and what he was doing in the children's ward. The doctor explained that the doors there were the strongest in the whole hospital. At this moment, we see Jim, who had reached the hospital. The doctor told Kat that he had warned people about this virus all year, but no one listened. He said the virus was like an evil spirit, attacking the part of the brain that controls a person's anger. He believed people thought they were in control, but they were slaves to their brains, which were made to seek pleasure. He said she must have seen that the infected people were crying, perhaps regretting what they were doing, but they couldn't control their desire for violence. He stated they would never kill each other because they found joy in the pain of innocent people. Rape, he argued, could only happen if someone said no. If someone agreed, it couldn't be called violence. That's why they would never be violent with their own kind. Meanwhile, Kat texted her boyfriend and told him she was on the top floor. She just needed to give the doctor her blood sample. But as she went to the trash can to throw away her clothes, she heard someone crying inside. When she lifted the lid, there was a child inside. Before she could understand, the doctor immediately infected her with the virus. It turned out that the doctor had killed all the children in this ward. The doctor said, "Everything was going so well. If you hadn't seen this, I wouldn't have had to do all this. Now, you have only 5 minutes. If the virus doesn't affect you, you'll come upstairs with me. We can make a vaccine from your blood. But if you get infected, I will kill you." The doctor told her that when he arrived, everyone had left these children to die. He said that if he hadn't been there, those people would have killed and eaten them. He claimed what he did wasn't wrong and that he just wanted to make a vaccine. He needed test subjects and had no one but these children. Kat realized this doctor was crazy. She immediately texted Jim and told him that the doctor in the children's ward had a gun. As soon as Jim got her message, he started going towards Kat, but his walking was strange. The doctor found out his helicopter had arrived. He saw that after 5 minutes, Kat was still fine, meaning she was immune to the virus. The doctors started taking her to the roof. They thought the way ahead was clear, but then a mutant cut off the doctor's leg. The doctor shot at the mutant, but before dying, the mutant vomited on his open wound, infecting him too. Now he had very little time. The doctor immediately ran to the roof, but someone was waiting for him there too. Kat saw Jim's shadow, but when light hit his face, she realized he was also infected. The doctor shot at him, but Jim dodged and killed the doctor. Kat ran to the roof to save her life and locked Jim inside. Jim kept telling her to open the door, but Kat knew her Jim was gone. She sat with him for a while and asked how he felt inside, if he could stop himself from killing her. Jim replied, "I feel great. It feels like my life has a purpose. You never felt like you needed me, but when you called me and begged for help, crying, I felt so good." He said, "I want to tear you into pieces. I want to crush your head with my feet and break it." Hearing such terrible things from Jim, Kat began to cry, but slowly the sadness on her face turned into laughter. Her loud laughter showed that she was not immune. The virus had started to affect her too. The pain of losing Jim now brought her joy. When she heard the helicopter, she went straight up. A little later, we heard gunshots, which meant the military had probably killed her. In the end, we are shown that Jim had a demonic smile on his face. He was badly hurt and died where he lay, but that smile never left his face. With this, the story ends. The Sadness stands out as a bold and intense film that explores what happens when society is pushed to its limits. With a gripping storyline, strong visuals, and emotional tension, it's a movie that leaves a lasting impression. It's not just about fear, it's about how people react when everything changes in an instant. If you're someone who loves deep and meaningful movie breakdowns, especially films that go beyond the usual, make sure to subscribe to AS. Here, we bring you unique explanations, thoughtful analysis, and a fresh perspective on movies you won't see explained everywhere. See you in the next video.